Nerdish, nerdy, nerd news.
Hi, and welcome to Nerdish, Nerdy, Nerd News. Come along and ride with us as we explore, discuss, and nerd-splain some of the most interesting topics of today.
Hey, I'm Ferg. I spent my youth playing sports, then I moved into IT, so I've been around nerds quite a bit. I hope to have some laughs and learn some things along the way.
Hey, I'm Tim. Hung around with nerds a lot growing up, hoping that it would rub off. I think it kind of did, because I'm kind of nerdish. And as always, my co-hosts.
Hey, thanks Tim. I'm Christian. I've been playing and writing, creating games and Dungeons & Dragons since high school. My idea of a relaxing weekend is playing vids with my buds online. I also used to do complex math troubles with my dad for fun. I am very nerdy. And with us, to help us understand the world a little better...
Hi, I'm Jess. I've been programming and using computers since the early 80s. I'm a voracious reader, consistently going through about 500,000 or more words a month. I've got some biochemistry in my background, and I've been using technology for as long as I can remember. I am the nerd.
We're back on a podcast with Fergal, Jess,
And Christian.
It's been a while. How's everyone been doing?
Pretty good. I was talking to you earlier. I was nerding it out for the past week at an IT conference. So, I'm fully nerded up and raring to go.
Yeah, professionally nerding it out.
Yes.
Paid to
Get
nerd it
paid
up.
to be doing it,
Yes.
yeah. Learned some cool stuff.
What was one of the cool things you learned?
It's city secrets. I can't
No,
speak about
it's
it.
not actually. One of the things is Y2Q, right? So we've heard of Y2K and what that represents, but Y2Q is the quantum computing. And when everything that is encrypted right now suddenly becomes as readable as a plain text file.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool learning about that.
Yeah, with a quantum computer, it can guess those passwords as...
Yeah, it'll brute force them in seconds.
Yeah, we'll have to do a little more research and do a podcast on it.
Yeah, really cool.
So they had like a presenter there that talked to you guys about it?
It was
or?
part of a presentation from a security company.
Oh.
As
I mean,
things that are on the horizon.
It's all city files. Those should all be public anyways. I should know what my neighbor paid in taxes last year and if they paid.
You can.
Yeah.
It's all on the website.
If they paid, though.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Exactly. Oh, they've got 3 dog tickets. They've got 13 speeding tickets. All
But it's
public.
really cool that like everything, absolutely everything that's encrypted right now is going to be plain text and easily readable.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, these things are going to be like, they're so expensive.
Yeah.
It's only going to be nation states or companies.
It'll be nation
large
states
companies.
for now.
What I've understood
That's what
too
they
is
said with computers that launched NASA into space, and they were as big as 2 buildings, and now we hold them in our hands.
Yeah.
Well, and I also understand that programming a quantum computer is not easy at all. It's a totally different.
Yeah, that's my understanding too.
It's nothing like even a programmer now that's the best in their field couldn't just step over and start doing it because it's a completely different. I don't even know how to verbalize it. It's just so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then AI steps in and does it for you.
It just does it. Yeah.
Once it's learned how to do it once. Oh, poor Tim. Poor Tim would be here having a hissy fit because
the robots.
the robots are coming.
Well, that was one of the, I was telling you earlier when I was stopped and interviewed in Saskatoon, one of the questions I was asked was about AI and should AI be used as a tool in education? And I answered, yeah, of course it should. AI is going to be fantastic. It's going to change the world. And the interviewer and the cameraman, I was looking at them, they're both shocked because they obviously hadn't got that answer before from other people. And I was explaining to them, it's here. No matter what we do, it's going to be there. So we need to make sure that we have the ethics and we have the governance around it correct and the structures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once that is there, this thing is going to change the world.
Denying its existence is not going to make it go away.
Yeah.
That'll
You
just
got to embrace it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if you can take something and take the and so I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that don't agree with this, but if you take something and you take the mechanical, the building part out of it, and you can just strictly concentrate on the idea and flush that out. So, for example, someone who wants to create a program and they have an idea for a program, but they're not a programmer. But they can say to AI, write me a program that does this. And then AI goes, well, here it is. Now they've taken that idea, they've fleshed it out, and they can continue to use that smart software to continue to flesh that out. You now have somebody who is wholly creative in the process, and they don't have to necessarily have other people involved in that until right now AI isn't that good to do that completely. But
no, and the constraints on it right now are like it will write the code for you. It'll do a fantastic job of writing the code. But I would wonder about the security around the code.
Yeah, there's still going to be the need for
human oversight
for now. Yeah. But just the idea of like that's just with programming. If you can think of other things, like someone who wants to create something that's complex, that like you create a world in a book, and you want to write the story, but there's all of the background information. Writers today, they have files that are like tens of thousands of pages of just background information, like this is this character, this is what this character has done, especially when you're looking at things like people that are writing like not Lord of the Rings, what's it called, Wheel of Time, right? Like Robert Jordan's notes were a bookcase.
I can imagine, because those books were just humongous.
Yeah, so if you were to take that and load that into an AI system, and then you could say, what did this character do here? And it could bring it back to that writer, and they don't have to do all that digging and take all that time. They can just go, yep, okay, I remember that now, and continue on with the writing.
So that's interesting, where you can be creative and but you don't have to be technical then,
yes.
Right? You can just tell the robot to do the stuff that you want.
Yeah. Like some of the things like I've been doing with some of my D&D, when I create a tavern. I want to create a tavern rather than having to sit down and go build it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, which is fine.
Wall there.
Yeah, or like the characters that are in it,
the bartender, the random city folk,
what drinks they have, what their specials are, the costs.
Because he needs to be prepared for that in D&D. When we walk in and we see a dwarf he's like, oh yeah, there's a dwarf in the corner, there's an elf over there, there's a bartender.
And these idiots will go and talk to all of them.
He can now let AI.
I can have it build those backgrounds for those characters, including lots of adventure hooks and things like those. Adventure hooks I'll build, but it gives me the adventure hooks. Oh, well, this dwarf is a stonemason for a nearby mine, and he's in here drinking because he just had a recent scare. And then it builds the whole character for me.
And the backstory.
And then the backstory is just sort of fleshed a little bit, and then I create the rest. I go, okay, now this is what I want it to do.
But it's not essential to the story unless we as the players make it that. But at least he's got it, so...
Yeah, so you've got the base there.
Yeah.
So a lot of that grinding away at making things, the little things that they might just possibly talk to this person or go here, I don't have to. It's just there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to change the world.
Yeah, it is. But I think you're absolutely right. It does need that...
when do we
oversight.
Get to elect our first AI counselor?
One of the things that comes with those AIs, and this is a good lead into what we're going to be talking about today, is a lot of them are made from something called a large language model.
LLM, yeah.
The way that they work is, I've looked at it a bit and I still don't quite understand it. They are very, very complicated. But the gist is, and this is where there's also some controversy, because there are a lot of authors and artists and people that are saying, you used my product, my thing to create something, so it's an infringement. You load in books, newspaper articles, texts, speeches, and it takes that and it creates this gigantic model of knowledge and language. And that's how it works. And so it's huge, though.
Oh, it's...
Even the smaller ones, which you can download right now, we're talking like 20, 30 gigabytes of data just for a small LLM.
And now those gigs are it's pure text. That's the thing you've got to remember.
Not even text, some of it's just numbers.
But that's what I mean. You've got to remember, like, people go, oh, well, 2 gigs isn't that much. I just had a video game that was
Yeah,
130
exactly.
gigs.
It's not video, it's not picture, it's
Like,
just
it's
text.
pure text, pure, like, which is very, very simple. Like 4K,
It's 4,000 characters.
4,000 characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's, and that's including the spaces, of course, but letter space is 3 characters. So when you've got a gigabit of characters,
Yeah.
that is a massive amount of books and knowledge, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, that's an important thing to take into account, right?
Yeah.
That it's not video.
you throw a picture in there, and it's quickly.
Well, and those large language models, they don't use a regular processing unit. They are the GPUs that used to be used for cryptocurrency are now being used to process those.
Damn Jess making me buy cryptocurrency and then it crashes.
Well, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
You're just behind on everything.
I am. Don't ever take stock tips from Christian, because they're usually
Tail end Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to buy this just as it peaks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna go up, I swear. And next week it's like 3 cents a share.
But don't the LLMs also use like there's it just used I guess I should say the chat bots will use the LLM, but they'll also use the web.
Oh yeah,
Right, they will go out into the web to search. You can set it to do that.
if they're allowed to.
I've
Yeah.
actually played with a couple. I can't remember what it's called anymore, but there was one I was playing with where you set it up, and it has its own LLM, and then you give it access to your web browser to use, and it will go out and it will find information on the web and incorporate that into its own memory, not necessarily into the large module, but just its short-term memory.
Yes. So the important thing to note is, I guess, from a end user point of view, is that it's not Google.
No.
Like it's not going to fact check. It's not going to do anything like that. It's a large, long language model, so it's going to give you what it knows.
And it may, when you read it, it may seem absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But it's not.
By and large, it's not.
No. And that's absolutely, the people still need to read them and fact check them. And so if you use chat GPT or what are some of the other ones out there? What's the Microsoft one? Copilot or any of those, always fact check whatever it gives you.
Yeah.
If it says, it's safe to use Tylenol to treat this, like double check.
Yeah, use Google for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even like it will give you something that it thinks is right, but that's all it knows.
Yeah.
It doesn't know that it's wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
It's referenced 300 websites, and 290 of them were Reddit. Right? Like, or something similar to where it's just people's anecdotal, recipes.
But the first place it will check, like if you don't have it configured to actually check on the web, the first place it will check is what it was told, which is just some dude telling it. So,
Yeah.
right? So
It's
they're
whatever
not
they've fed into it
Yeah.
when they were training it. And that, like I said, that could be books, that could be novels, that could be textbooks, speeches. It could be anything. And we all know that there's a lot of fiction out there.
Yeah. And like Microsoft have really embraced this. So they have, I think they have 27 Copilot products linked to other Microsoft products. So like there'll be like a
neighbors getting their.
is that what that is?
Yeah, it's the neighbors. Yeah, I don't know if anyone heard that, but we had it here. We got someone with their quad out back right now, and they're revving it up and getting it started for the summer.
Chainsaw coming through the front door.
Sound of summer.
Well, it's either that or a snowmobile. So really,
Yeah. But the 27 Copilot products, the Copilots are linked to other Microsoft products, right? So if you have Microsoft Dynamics has a Copilot for it, right? All of these type of things. So they're going hard for this.
Yeah, right now, what I really need in my job is I need something that will, if I can give it like a library of documents, it will use that library for its reference. And they're not quite there yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be pretty soon.
Yeah, well, there is...
well, and I mean, they're doing it. You see it on a lot of websites now.
Yeah.
You'll get that automated,
Yeah.
the automated assistant who will go through the company's database of documents, like SaskTel, for example. How do I change the input on my TV? and the assistant goes, "Oh, what kind of TV do you have?" And it asks questions like a human, but all it's doing is trying to find which database it needs to look in
to give you back the information.
to give you back the information you need.
So all of these databases and all of this information is all part of big data.
Yes.
Which is what we're actually here to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's a good lead-in because it is big data. Like there's so much data on the internet right now that the AIs they're going to be necessary at some point for us to find what we need
sort through
to
it.
period. Because let me give you some numbers here. All right, these are some big numbers. Every minute of every day, there's 2.1 million snaps on Snapchat created. Wow. That's every minute. 6.3 million searches done on Google. 1 million people log into Facebook. 4.5 million videos are watched on YouTube every minute. 188
At least 10 of those are mine. Yeah. I'm watching YouTube as I'm sitting here talking to you guys.
188 million emails are sent every minute, and only 5% of those are actually emails. The rest are scams.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I make you bet a large portion of those are from my manager.
It's just ridiculous the amount of information that's created on the internet every minute of every day. So every day, and this is another one of those really big numbers, and we've sort of talked about this before, there's 2.5 quintillion bytes of data created.
Quintillion.
That's
So what's a quintillion?
a 1 followed by 18 zeros. So you still can't understand that. It's too big of a number. We've done this in the past. We've tried to make big numbers understandable, and we just about fried Tim's brain.
So we're going to try and fry yours today.
We're going to try here.
What makes you think I have a brain?
So the equivalent. Do you know if you can tell us the city how much storage it has?
Oh, I don't know. Off the top of my head.
Let me just put it this way: our library in Moose Jaw, if we were to take all of its content, images, documents, video, everything, you'd maybe have a petabyte.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you scanned every book digitally, PDF,
2.5 quintillion bytes of data is about 2,500 petabytes.
Wow.
Okay, so let's
2,500 cities of Moose Jaw libraries.
Yeah. Per day.
Per day.
Okay, so
Of new content.
That we're adding.
So like, how big is a quintillion? That still doesn't give it. That people still can't visualize that. They still can't understand it. Well, if we were to say in seconds, 1 million seconds is 11 and a half days ago. Okay?
I can't remember what I was doing yesterday.
So almost 2 weeks ago. If you were to count back 1 million seconds, let's bump that up one. Let's go to 1 billion seconds. That's 31 and a half years ago.
Wow. So you're going from like 11 and a half days, 1 million to 1 billion is 31 and a half years.
Yeah. Let's go up another bump. 1 trillion seconds is 37,000 years ago, or when the Neanderthals were still walking the earth.
Well, there's still some walking on Earth.
Tim's ancestors.
Yeah.
I know. I think
right.
there's still a few walking around Moose Jaw.
So let's go up to the next one, which is the quintillion. It's actually a couple steps. If that was a quintillion seconds ago, that's 32 billion years. That's more than 2 times the theoretical age of the universe.
Wow. That's incredible.
Again, yeah.
It's almost pretty much impossible to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Just know it's big.
There are more
massive.
More grains of there are more in a quintillion than there are, I think, grains of sand on the earth or something like that. Wow. It's like this ridiculous number.
And we're creating that with our minds. Well, some of it anyways.
Yeah.
Right? Like we as the human race are creating that information and knowledge every day. And then people worry, oh, well, the government's watching me. You think they're sorting through 2.5 quintillion bytes of data a day? Like, I get it. Some of it will be earmarked, but it's amazing they can find anything. I mean, we all know government.
Yeah. It's not all saved, but a very, very large portion of this is saved in some way or other.
Mm.
So
yeah, but even if you're talking about if 50% of it was saved, it's still a phenomenal amount of data.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we're cluttering it with our podcast.
it's one of those mind-boggling numbers that you can't comprehend it.
Yeah, it's insane.
But it's still good to know. And that number's increasing every day, too.
Oh, yeah.
As we get 4K content, as we get 8K video content, as more content is created, more people get access to the internet. The more people that have it, the more data is being created.
Well, think about this. You have a movie. Someone creates a movie. We just had one, just came out the other day digitally, the Ungentlemanly War, or whatever it was called. I can't remember now. Or the new Ghostbusters movie, Frozen Empire. Okay, so that movie came out. Now IMDb has an entire article on that, and in that article, there's a bunch of people that have made, their own references to it. There's all of the cuts and clips and everything else, and trailers, and that's just the stuff that's available on the internet to the public.
Yeah.
So that's just one created thing. Everybody who's talked about it, anyone who writes fan fiction about it, anybody who's taken a clip out of it and does a podcast on it, like we are right now, that's generating content. Yeah,
it's insane. Yeah, and it just blows your mind when you start thinking about it. You're just going, what? You like, we can't fathom those numbers.
No. But here's what really makes me go what? Is somebody somewhere figured out a way to use that big data to sell stuff to people?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been able to filter through the garbage that is that data, filter through it and figure out what you want to buy.
Yeah.
You personally, in Moose Jaw, an Irish descendant male, what you are thinking of buying. Mm-hmm. They're able to predict that. And that, again, is that they can filter through that like that.
And it's all interlinked. And that's where we're getting to the next little bit here. Mm-hmm. Cookies. Everyone's heard of cookies.
Yeah.
They're not just chocolate chip. A cookie. Well, Fergal, what's a cookie?
Well, it's like a little breadcrumb that's left on your computer with information so that they can tell when you were there, when you come back.
Yeah.
Essentially,
yeah.
It's a little more, these days a bit more complicated than that, but that's what it started out.
Yeah, they're created way back in 1994 by Netscape, one of the Netscape creators. Yeah. He, an employee. The problem is that when someone was logging into an online shop, the servers don't remember who was logged in. They're just providing web pages. Mm-hmm. That's all they're doing. They don't know who you are. They're just like, this guy just asked for this page. Okay, here you go. How do I know who you are? So what they did is they saved, like you said, a little tidbit on that person's computer so that it would send that tidbit to Netscape or to that website saying, hey, my name's Fergal. Here's my user account. I did a search on this. This is me. So that it knows who was asking for that page.
It knows what I was looking for the last time.
It knows your cart, what you've put into your cart. Yeah. And that's what it was for, because those servers just had too much to do. They didn't need to remember who was what. They just had to serve those pages as fast as they could.
It was a convenience thing too, right?
Right. Yeah. So you log into the site, the server verifies you, and drops a cookie onto your computer. Now, every time you come back, that cookie's still there. It knows who you are. You don't have to log in again. So it's really convenient. Everyone loved it.
Yeah.
People started going, these companies started going, well, I'm going to keep track of what this guy's doing. I'm just going to put stuff he searched for in his cookie. They're only 4K. They're only 4,000 bytes of data. Yeah. But right now, most browsers will allow a company or like a website to put 300 cookies onto your computer. Yeah. So they have one cookie just for your login, one cookie just for when was the last time you were there and what you looked for, what you bought. What's this other cookie here is, what time were you on this website? They track
when you were on at 2 a.m, he was looking at different things than at lunchtime.
Was he looking at T-shirts? Was he looking at underwear? Was he looking at bicycles? Hey. All of that saved. Mm-hmm. Now they sign an agreement with someone like Amazon, and you go to Amazon and you start seeing T-shirts, bicycles, underwear coming up on your front page. Google Ads, you're on another website that has nothing to do with that stuff. It's just an ad that's popping up on the site, and it's bicycles and T-shirts. And well, how do they know? That's how they know.
That's how they know.
And now my phone's sitting here listening to us talk about that. And the three of us, that's all we're going to get for the next week.
So it's this massive net, and these companies, they share their data between each other, or they have agreements where they pay for the data from another company so that they can target their advertising to you.
And let's face it, I mean, aren't you asked like to allow cookies?
Yes, you are. Yeah, that was actually fairly recent, and that was actually driven by the European Union.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a privacy.
Yeah. So the thing about how many people are going to say, no, I'm not going to allow those cookies, because let's be honest, it's just convenient for you to have those cookies there. I want to be able to, if I'm searching for toys or something, furniture on Amazon, and I go to Wayfair and I want to search for it, it's great that I don't have to redo it again, right? It's shown me already, right? So there's that convenience. It's not all bad.
No, but
it's not all nefarious.
It's not all nefarious, but there are some bad.
Yeah.
Well, like anything, any tech that we have can be turned against us, right? Like everything, we've proven this throughout history. You know, like
I'm just thinking right now, Tim is like he's probably got like this weird feeling from on the back of his head, you know, like from the back of his neck, like something's talking about me, or something's what? It's the robots.
But I mean, we've created so many things over the years. You know, like we created wheels so that you could pull a cart easier.
Fire.
And then that cart was turned into a chariot, which was used for war. You know, everything is, at some point,
it's human nature.
Yeah.
It will get twisted to be either good or evil, or both.
One of the most famous ones is why we have the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
You know, he invented dynamite.
Dynamite, yeah.
And he was so horrified by what it was being used for that he created the Nobel Prize to go forth and, you know, for like peaceful things.
Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, that's one of them, but there's chemistry and all the different ones.
Because he wanted people to be recognized for doing good with science.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the world. That's what we are. We're humans. And that data,
cookies.
You're talking about like why we have that managed cookies. Well, that comes from something called Cambridge Analytica data scandal.
And I'm sure pretty much everyone's heard of it, but I have no idea what it is. Like it, you hear it on. No idea. You hear it. You hear it on the. You hear it on the news. Oh yeah, the Cambridge Analytical thing, and you know they talk about it and they reference it and blah blah blah. It's like they're referencing it as if it's. Oh yeah, you know
everyone knows.
We all breathe air, right? Well, yeah, but do you know what the air is actually made up of? Air. Well, actually, no. It's made up of mostly nitrogen. But that's how I feel with Cambridge Analytics. It's like, it's data, right? It's just all our data. Well, yes, but they took...
It was bad.
And when you dig into it and what they actually did with it, you'll be blown away. Like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So
what is it? Like I said, I don't know. So what is it?
Go for it, Fergal.
Well, all right. So on March 16th, the New York Times and The Guardian reported a data mining firm called Cambridge Analytica had improperly obtained access to over 87 million user profiles. This data had been collected as far back as 2013.
So like this wasn't like hackers hacking into people's stuff. This was a company taking other companies' stuff?
Yeah, so
without the users knowing about it.
Yeah, and I think it was originally supposed to be a small group.
Yeah. Like, originally it was like 270,000 people were asked
agreed to it
to do like a Facebook survey. It was a survey on a Facebook app. Yep.
But what they didn't realize in the small print, they looked at their friends and then their friends' friends and got their data, right?
Good example of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh, bacon? You got bacon?
I like bacon.
Yeah, so they had everything like your public profile, your page likes, your birthday, where you lived, newsfeed, timeline, messages,
And it's the likes, hey? It's the likes are the thing. Because that shows that is how they analyze what type of a person you are.
Yeah.
They can get where you live, but the likes, the things that you like, that you comment on, that's how they figure out whether you're left-leaning, right-leaning, what type of a person you are, how far you lean in those directions, and things like that.
So did we all get thrown in there?
No.
87 million.
No, because I think Facebook has I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this, but they have well over 1 billion accounts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So was it localized to a certain area of...
Well, the data that they used
Or
allowed
did
them
they
to
not?
create a psychographic profiles of the people that they got, which is what Fergal was just talking about. So they see Fergal, they do their little process on him, and they find out that he's a massively left-leaning, whatever. I don't know what you are, Fergal. I'm just throwing it out there.
Potato
Sure
farmer.
myself, to be honest.
Left-leaner, gun nut, whatever.
Yeah.
I might be completely wrong because I'm not a political person, but they find that, and he's on the fence about who he's going to vote for in the next election because the left person is not a gun nut. They want to ban guns or whatever, right? So they find this information. They make a profile that marketing or advertising that can target specifically with a specific kind of advertising to try to make them buy or change a vote or make a suggestion for them to make a comment that will go to all of their friends, which will influence them. So they've used that. They've made a profile, just like on CSI or on, what's that other one? The
NCIS?
Yeah.
NCIS.
Yeah, where they profile them and say, "Oh, this is a 50-year-old white male who this." They get that information, and then they use it.
Yes, so they're not just targeting them with ads, right? So you're not just getting the guy is into guns, so he's not getting, hey, you can buy guns. What they're targeting is they're putting articles and information based on what they like and what they comment on to direct their thinking in a particular political fashion.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you were 50-50, and this happened in the 2016 general election, if you were 50-50 and you were like, I'm going to vote for Trump, or who's the other guy? Trump or
Hillary.
Hillary. Yeah. And Cambridge Analytica boasted that they could win the election for Trump by targeting those specific. He could tell you by so many likes what that person is like and how they can influence them by targeting them with
And not Trump ads.
No.
Like that's the thing.
It wasn't blatant. It was nuanced.
It wasn't. Yeah, that's the thing that got me that gets me is about this that I'm slowly figuring out here is that it wasn't like they targeted him with a specific Trump ad that they hadn't created 50 Trump ads hoping that this ad was for this people, this ad was they used the ads they had to slowly push them more left or more right, in this case more right, into Trump's court, so that when Trump said something it resonated better with him.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you said, it wasn't just advertisements. It would be an article that would be like somebody who is a political
analyst,
not an analyst, but someone who spoke politically, who just had, maybe it was like 3 paragraphs, or just enough that someone would, let's read this, see what kind of it is.
And it's deliberately designed to inflame, and provoke an emotional reaction within to get them to lean the way they want.
Yeah.
It was the US is supposed to be the land of the free and the home of democracy, and it completely,
both Cruz and Trump used that information for their campaigns.
Yeah.
But
like I was saying to you earlier, Obama did too.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Obama did in 2012 as well, in a slightly more dated fashion, but it was cutting edge at the time.
Yeah, marketing is always,
and they all do. They have done this same thing over and over again with what do you call them when you have the small group of people?
Focus groups.
Focus groups.
Yeah.
They've done that for politics.
Yes.
They've done that for products. But this is a
television,
whole,
everything.
This is a whole new way of doing a focus group.
You're
with
you're part of a focus group without wanting
just
or even
existing.
knowing.
Yeah, 82 million people.
Well,
were
that, and it's a bigger focus group.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your data is far more
accurate.
accurate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For the
yeah.
statisticians, I can't say it. The larger the population of data, the smaller your error would be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What you predict.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean when they call people at 2 p.m? That's not accurate? Because everyone who's home at 2 p.m. isn't a certain data set. Like, I always laugh at some of those polls, and they're like, "Yeah, plus or minus 7.8%." It's like, oh, yeah, you guys didn't call very many people, or you just called at one time of day.
Yeah. And you got all the grannies sitting at home.
Watching the price.
Miss Marple.
You just interrupted Miss Marple. Why are they all so angry from 2 till 3? You just interrupted days of our lives.
Yeah. When this all came out and it was released that this information was I'm not going to say illegally obtained, just not inappropriately attained. That's where the European Union came down and said, well, this is privacy issues, and that's why you see on pretty much every website now there's a thing that pops up the first time you go there about managing cookies. And there should be 3 buttons. There should be
my wife tells me to manage my cookies. I eat way too many.
There should be 3 different buttons. There should be accept all, disagree or reject all, and then one is like you can pick specific ones. Yeah.
Well, you can also view what.
And that's that third button. Yeah, you can manage them. So you can go in there and say, you know what, I don't mind if Amazon sees my stuff, but I don't want Facebook and the rest of them too. And you can turn all that different stuff off. So, and that's one of the outcomes. The other outcomes,
or their partners. I think that was
yes,
that was the other
partners.
one. So it's like, do you want Facebook to have it? Yes. Do you want Facebook and any of its partner apps to have it? And it's like. That sounds very open-ended.
Yeah. So if you're a little bit paranoid, just click reject.
Yeah.
Because the only cookies that it will allow are the ones necessary for you to log in and maintain your login on that website.
Yeah, it's not going to stop you using the website. You know.
Yeah. So there were some fines that were levied.
Yeah. You're talking about big numbers.
Yeah. Well,
not as big as they should be.
So the United Kingdom Information Commissioner's Office fined them £500,000.
Yeah, it's pitting.
Yeah, right. So that's the maximum they could do under the law.
Zuckerberg has dropped that out of his pocket.
That's 633,000 Canadian.
His flight over in his private jet was probably 10 times that.
Yeah. The U.S. SEC was $100 million for misleading investors about the risks they faced for misuse of data.
Still pittance, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Now, the FTC, they actually sort of came within the right ballpark. It was $5 billion, but they're allowed to pay it over 20 years.
Yeah, you couldn't ask someone to come up with $5 billion like it's off
Well,
the hop.
you could.
Well, you could, I guess. Yeah.
It would never get
you
paid.
You can do that, right? Hey, Christian, give me $5 billion. Yeah, I just did it.
Yeah.
So,
Here,
then,
don't worry, this check won't bounce that hard.
And then Meta, who was also part of it because they were named as one of the co-defendants, they settled a class action suit. Meta is what Facebook is now under for $725 million, which is again a pittance.
Yeah,
when you look at their annual revenues.
Yeah.
But at least something happened. You know, whether it's a slap on the hand or wrist.
And I think people became aware of it, and
well, and
I think more younger people became aware of how they can be influenced for an election, and maybe it'll be a bit different for them.
Well, and let's just go back a little bit here. Some of the websites that a lot of people use, like, for example, CNET, they have over 100 cookies just for their website.
Yeah. They have a lot of ads.
Yeah. Last FM is 52 CNN, or 82, pardon me.
CNN, CNET, all those quote unquote news.
New York Times is 57.
Yeah, what's CTV like?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you can find out actually. There are some browser add-ons. So one of the ones that I use is called uBlock.
Oh yeah.
You add that and you say block all external cookies. And when you go onto the website, it'll show you up in the corner where the little uBlocks that says it's running, it'll have a little number that'll pop up on it. And it'll actually tell you how many it's blocked when you're on that website.
Cool.
And I've seen them in the hundreds.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's uBlock?
Yeah, uBlock Origin, I believe it's called.
Right. And that's on Chrome, is it?
Chrome, Firefox,
Probably all of them.
Probably all of them.
Safari,
It's at least those two. I know it's on those two.
Edge.
Yeah.
I love Edge. I have to say.
Compared to IE, yeah.
I love Edge.
LinkedIn, which is just it's a employment and a work one. It has 38 or 28. Pardon me, 28. Yeah.
What did they need to know?
Yeah.
CBC, the Canadian, web, 31.
Wow.
And then there's Yahoo.
Oh.
They have used up to 455 third-party cookies.
Wow.
I didn't realize Yahoo was still even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, let's go.
Yeah, you gotta go on there and see what's on Yahoo.
Yeah.
Is it just like a MSNBC
Yeah,
kind of
I think
website?
it's like it used to be a search engine, but I don't know if it is.
Yeah, it used to be a search engine. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's coming up. Oh, it redirected me to yahoo.ca, so that's going to be a cookie.
Yeah, it
that's
looks
a
like an
cookie.
MSNBC type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's ads for Temu.
Christian, you've been looking at Temu?
No, but it shows up on my Facebook, so yeah. But not on this computer.
Now you're going to see a lot more because we just spoke about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, there's some Amazon ones. Buying advice for Amazon.
Has anyone signed up for Temu?
Yeah, my dad uses it all the time.
Yeah, I signed up for it just to have a look at it because, the new house and stuff, looking for stuff. And they don't half email you. Like, I must get, and I'm okay with it, they 4 emails a day. Like, you've won this prize.
I get
Come, thank you for your support. I literally logged into your site. I haven't bought anything from you.
that. I got that. I get that from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I
Do ya?
get 2 to 3 emails a day from LinkedIn. And it's like,
I don't even have LinkedIn.
yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
just add them to my spam folder.
Yeah.
Spam. Then I don't see it anymore. Or if I can go in and turn it off.
But it's like, oh, we've got 13 jobs in your area that we were looking for, and I'm just like, well, I looked at a job 2 years ago, but, that's
my
because
dad-
that's because one came up at SAS Poly, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, and it happened to be on LinkedIn, and I'm
I
like, oh,
see.
okay, so I clicked on it, and now I'm paying for it.
My dad loves Temu. He'll go on there and he'll find all kinds of stuff. It's like T-shirts and little toys for the
Yeah.
great grandkids and
They it's like an AliExpress, right? It's just a bit longer. Is it based in the States? Is it?
No, I think it's Asian.
Oh, is it in China or something? Is it?
Yeah, I think so. So I'm not saying that it's poor quality, but it's not necessarily top quality stuff either.
Well, I found a knockoff site. I probably shouldn't say it. I'm going to say it. I found a knockoff site for selling.
For the 7 listeners that we have for this
Exactly.
episode.
Yeah, I doubt I'm going to be hauled up. It was for rugby jerseys, right? So I bought a rugby jersey from a store and got it shipped from Ireland, and it ended up costing about $180, right? Which isn't too bad, right, for a jersey,
For a
It was
jersey.
For
good
a
quality
legit
jersey,
jersey, yeah.
right? That's okay. But I found a knockoff site and I could buy them for $50.
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're great condition.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they're poor conditioned, but they're not going to be triple stitched with the highest
Yeah.
quality. It's going to be it's a jersey and it's nice,
Yeah.
but it's not what they wear
And
in
for the-
games.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
wear it plain.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, you could.
may
And
not
when
wanna
I
get
grab-
it wet.
When I grab onto it, it shreds, and you get away.
Yeah, that's true.
you may not want to get it wet.
Yeah.
Just one of those dissolving
Melts.
those dissolving swim trunks. Have you guys ever seen that one where the wives? Yeah. That's how that's how I
hilarious.
feel my cookies should be. My cookies should just dissolve away when I turn off my browser.
Is that, when the last thing is that, listen, go sort out my browsing history.
Yeah. That's
When
right.
you're on your
You
deathbed.
should always have somebody who is a good friend of
Your
yours
browsing history
that will
buddy.
go and delete
With
your.
no judgment.
Yeah,
There's no
just-
judgment. If someone asks you to delete their browsing history, you just go do it.
I'd
Yep.
I'd
You
print
don't-
it and
you
throw
don't
it in the
judge.
coffin with you. So I'm not the one to ask.
yeah. Just somebody, if you have a good friend and they pass away, just go delete the browser history.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
That's what being a good friend is all about.
Yeah. How's the saying go? A friend will come bail you out. A good friend will be sitting next to you going, "That was pretty cool, wasn't it?" It's yeah. So yeah, in the future, they're actually looking at. Google has been doing something called tracking protection on their browser. They're looking at protecting people behind the scenes, so to speak. It limits the cross-site tracking.
Right.
So third-party cookies wouldn't be able to
access
access anything unless you're on their site.
All right, so let me get this right. Google, the company that watches everything we do.
They don't want anyone else's cookies that you work. They just want
anyone else
theirs.
doing it. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for it. I always go, allow all, because what are you going to do?
I'm not doing anything nefarious.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Like, there's nothing about my day-to-day that if anyone wants to search through it, they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to see that I Googled Helldiver 2 stratagems 13 times today. Go for it. Yeah, you can gladly see that I've been playing Helldiver.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I'm horrible at it.
There's just a lot of data out there, and honestly, all you can do is limit the personal data what you put out there.
Yes.
If a website asks for name, address, phone number, unless you need to give it to it, don't.
You should always ask yourself, why do they need that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, are they shipping something to me? Okay.
Yeah, then they need it, of course.
Are they not? Then and
Am I
it
just
requires you
browsing
to
to
put
this
something in
website?
there. If they require you to put an address in, put a fake address in.
Yeah.
You can always go and change it later.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you go to the store and you buy things and they say to you, hey, can we get your phone number? Sure. And I give them one up from my phone number. So whoever my neighbor is, my phone neighbor, is getting lots of texts from Marks and Walmart.
Mean.
See, and I think we should all pick an address in one city and have that address, like
Get all
City
the junk
Hall.
mail.
City Hall. We put,
Care of Fergal.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll get all my Alibaba Express
Oh, yeah.
coupons and hey Fergal, there's a package at the front desk. Can you go get it for me?
Another thing that you can do to protect yourself is you have an email address. I'm sure everyone has an email address.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have at least one. Some have multiples. Go to a free email like Yahoo, Google, Hotmail, or
iCloud
Outlook,
even
or
has.
iCloud, and just create one that has your name or whatever it is dot whatever. So it's
But you can actually go to websites where they'll actually create a fake email address.
Google
that
will
is
do it.
used.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you, I can't remember how it works. There's a way of doing it. You can just put your regular email address, but the part before the at, I think if you put, like, for example, let's say mine's Jess Halsworth. It's not, but let's say it was. And then you can put like dot Facebook at google.com. I think that is. You'll have to go and, if you're going to do it, go look. And then what'll happen is when it sends something to you, it'll still come to your email box, but it'll be that dot Facebook, and you'll know where that email was sold from,
Right, yeah.
or came from. So, but what I was saying is, if you don't want to see all that garbage come in, a lot of people will, what they'll do is they'll create a new email account, and that's the one that they give to all the websites when they're logging in. So you still have access to it. You still go to it when you need to, like for resetting passwords or when they send you something, and you can have it so it'll forward that stuff to your regular
Yeah, you
mailbox.
can set up the rules.
Right. Yeah. But it's easier to do it that way, because then you don't get all the marketing crap that you guys have been talking about to your regular email where you want.
I mean, I'm
You've
looking
got
here.
to cycle through the junk to get at the stuff you need.
Yeah.
I typed in fake Google email and it comes up with websites. One's called a tempmail.org.
Yeah,
disposable temporary
Exactly.
email.
That
So-
they create an email address for you, and it only lasts for 24 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, they're
Yeah, so lots of options there. You've got, like they say, you can create a new one if you wanted, or there's options where you can set up fake ones that. And again, these can be used nefariously. And this is where people
this is just
forget,
it, right? And
when you get an email that is SaskTel tech support at google.com, guess what? That's
fake.
not SaskTel.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, people create these addresses to seem like they're legit.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, there was a guy on Instagram who created, and this was one of my favorite spoofs of all times. He created an account and called it customer service.
Was that Twitter or was that?
It might have been Twitter.
Yeah.
And so he'd go around to all the different tweets. Like someone had tweeted, "Oh, I had a burger at Burger King and it was garbage," and blah blah blah. And so he'd come on, change his icon to a Burger King logo, and then it says customer service. And then he'd make some snarky comment about
Brilliant.
if you don't like our burgers, then you can just get the hell out. and so it looks like it's coming from legitimately
Burger
from
King or
Burger
whatever,
King
yeah.
because it's customer service.
Yeah.
And he went around for, it was like 6 or 8 months before someone actually realized. And like some of them were brilliant comments. Like they were what the company should have said to the person,
Yeah,
but they don't want,
wouldn't.
they wouldn't. But if you ever look it up, look up like fake customer service tweets or
Yeah.
it is something. It is a rabbit hole you can go down for hours and you'll just be pissing yourself laughing because like these things, and lots of people have done it since then because they realized that you can. But yeah, it's again, one of those things that, just be aware that what's on the internet. Like we've told you how much data is out there.
Yeah.
And how much of it is fake.
Yeah.
And how much.
Someone it was actually from Microsoft, a rep from Microsoft that I was talking to, and she was saying to me that if you're not paying for the product,
You are the product. Yeah, that was
Absolutely.
a famous quote actually from
Not that long ago.
one of the when they did the there was a social it was on Netflix. It was a series. It was a TV series, or not a TV series, but a video, like a documentary called "The Social Network," and it was all about how all these CEOs and CTOs had left all of these big companies like Google,
Yeah.
Netflix.
Tristan Harris was
yeah.
who initially
Yeah.
said it.
Was that
And
it?
he was a Google employee.
Yeah, and he came out and he said, if you are not paying for a product, you are the product, exactly like that. And it's so true nowadays.
Oh, it's more true now
when
than
you
ever
go to
before.
google.ca and search something, they're giving you that search for free because they're taking your data of you searching and
Because
selling it.
you're probably logged in with your Google
With your
account.
Gmail account.
You did a search, and now whatever you're clicking on, they also know what you're clicking on to go to see with that search. And they say, oh, we're using that to make our searches better. Well, they're also saving that information.
Yeah, and selling it. I mean,
And targeting ads.
Jess and
Yeah,
I have
when you do the
Jess and I
accept
have
thing.
bought targeted ads for like the gamers when we were doing things, and it's like they ask you, okay, who do you want to target? Okay, people in Moose Jaw. Well, yeah, but we want to target people in Regina and Saskatoon, but we also want to target people in the province of Saskatchewan. But that's less priority than these other ones. So they would target first of all people in Moose Jaw. And then once they'd hit that target, maybe 10% would go to these other sources. But then our other questions
Oh,
were,
it's like
okay,
the
what
age
what
range.
age range? What are they interested in? Okay, so
Genders.
Dungeons and Dragons, video games, card games, board games, things that people...
So that's where you're moving laterally from something
Yeah.
else to these users, right?
Yeah.
And so instead of me targeting 95-year-old grandmas with these ads who they're not going to come to the Gamers Expo, they would target the people most likely to come to our gaming expo.
And then we'd get results back from them. And it would be, of the 10,000 imprints, I think they
Imprints,
called
yeah,
it.
ads,
You got a
basically.
26% click rate, which
Right.
means of
Which
those,
people
26
clicked on
people,
the ad- on the
26% of them clicked on that ad.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that-
Whereas
click on
if you change that targeting, that percentage would change
Yeah.
depending on
and you could pay, and that's where we were paying Google.
yeah.
Right?
Well, it
So
was-
we were paying
yeah.
Google for your data,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To know who you are and how to get in front of you.
In that case, I don't think that's a nefarious use of that data because honestly, like if you're not interested in it, do you want to see the ad
Yeah.
for it? No.
Yeah, exactly.
No. If it's someone who might be interested, yeah, let's show them the ad.
So that's an actual service that's being provided,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. And a service that, especially nowadays with all the cord cutters we have, people who don't have newspapers coming every day, who don't have a TV that they watch the news with commercials. Like, how do I get in front of your eyeballs if you don't have a legacy media that you subscribe to?
Yeah.
Like, I can't go to the radio station and buy an ad because you don't listen to the radio. You listen to podcasts.
I think the only time the radio's on in my car is when I have my phone in my pocket and I didn't plug it into the car when I got in.
But that's the thing. Like, the media has changed from news, radio, and TV. Those aren't the main sources for most people to sit in front of now. So how do you get in front of those people?
From an age group down,
Even
for sure.
Even Facebook has become a very
generational
thing. Like if you
20-somethings,
No interest. Yeah. They're not even signing up for it.
very little. Yeah, they might have one because their parents have one.
They might have one for Messenger.
Yeah, or for their dance troupe, or
yes,
or just
Facebook group. Like,
because the old teachers who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s
have been using Facebook.
To communicate, and the kids are like, oh, I guess I have to have an account to communicate with everyone else on my team.
But you're right, Facebook is going like the amount of deactivations of Facebook accounts is unreal.
Yeah, well, same thing with Twitter or X, what it's called now. Like there's a lot of people just don't use it. They don't need. I don't have it. I don't even bother.
One must destroy Twitter. I mean, it's going down a bad path anyway. But like,
even
destroyed it.
Even before, I never would log into it or look at it because
I used it quite a bit because it was a good place for me to get news. I would use it for a specific purpose. Right? So I would follow rugby journalists. That type of thing. And
that's where these Cambridge Analytics was great for you because you'd follow one rugby journalist. And the next thing you swipe up, oh look, there's another rugby journalist from
here's
from
a different
England.
point of view.
That's it working. Yeah,
it's oh, okay, I'll look at that one too.
Yeah. Instead of having to filter through that to whatever what was that number I said at the start? 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. It's
it'd
already,
be a while.
Yeah. You thought you sat there and like rolled through TikTok for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I don't have TikTok.
I'm just terribly addicted to it. I'll sit there for an hour just flicking through them. I don't watch like everyone. I'll flick. Oh, that looks interesting. Oh yeah, flick. Yeah.
So here's a funny thing about that and the data. So me and one of my friends, Mike Roberts, he's in Swift Current. Mm-hmm. We are very, very similar but very different. We quite often send each other Facebook Reels, which is basically TikTok.
It's like a TikTok, yeah.
We will send each other probably one out of every 3 of our reels are the exact same reel that we just watched like 2 hours earlier. We are so in sync. It's almost like our periods have sunk. that our Facebook reels are almost identical. And he'll send me something, oh yeah, I saw that last week, or oh yeah, I saw that yesterday. And so it's just like, but that's where the analytics have pigeonholed the two of us into
a category.
Almost a parallel universe.
Well, and then when you send it to him and he watches it, now that's tagged to him.
Yeah. So, it's funny how these things have worked that way. But it also, in that instance, it's actually helping me connect with him because we both start making jokes about what we just saw. And, oh, yeah, I watched it yesterday. And then I got this one. Oh, well, that one, I saw that.
I just saw that 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
And it, it's funny. We're farther apart, but it's actually brought the two of us closer together.
Yeah, because you're geologically apart, geographically apart. Yeah. I way back in the early days of internet forums and that type of thing, I was on. I used to post quite regularly on a rugby forum, and the forum was just it was run by volunteers, right? It was there was no fee or anything like that. You just posted, but they decided to upgrade it to the back end software to be a bit more off the shelf kind of a forum thing, and to generate money, it also included targeted ads. So, the funny thing was that people were giving out about this new forum and the way it was laid out, and they couldn't. How do I do this? But the amount of people that posted up, and this, I kid you not, the amount of people that posted up and said, "Hey, I'm getting ads on the side for porn and for local services like local dating services and things like this."
What
and
were you looking
Your
for?
website is making these ads. Come on my browser. And people are going, actually, what have you been Googling? You know?
Yeah, and then that starts to twist you down into the dark side of the internet too.
Yeah.
Is if you are doing things that are inappropriate, that are, you know, if you are cheating on your wife and you are on these dating sites, well, guess what? The ads that are on your phone are going to be about dating sites.
Yeah.
And now that I've said that, we're all going to have dating sites popping up on our phones. Like,
That's okay.
Do you remember the Ashley Madison hack?
Yeah.
Wasn't that incredible? I watched a YouTube video on it recently.
remind people briefly about that
So,
one, because I
The Ashley
remember.
Madison was basically a website that promoted cheating.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to cheat on your spouse, you went on to this website, right?
Like a dating site.
Like
but
a dating
for-
site, but it
for-
was specifically designed for cheating on your spouse. And girls couldn't talk to you unless you paid more money to talk to girls. So the more money you pay, the more you talk to girls. So they were basically threatened that they would be hacked. And this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen to us. And then they were hacked.
It was probably already hacked.
Oh, yeah, it was already hacked. You're right. It was already done at
They
that
already-
stage.
It was
They
already done.
They were
It was a
already
done
in
deal.
there. They were listening.
Yeah.
They had like it. But they, so they went after, they basically released all the data because Ashley Madison kept saying, we're not going to pay the money. We're not going to pay the money. So they released all the data, and it was now available and caused deaths. People, marriages obviously
Yeah.
failed
absolutely.
because of it. It was
And not just like it was a lot of like the ones that
wasn't
made
this-
the news were the rich
We're
couples.
not talking. We're not
Yeah,
talking
and
about a few hundred or a few thousand. We're talking like
tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands,
Yeah.
like of people
Yeah.
that
Yeah, and
accounts
of
were just
course,
exposed.
the data's released, and news organizations and everyone went through it and they're like, "Oh, look, here's so and so from Congress," and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was
yeah. But again,
massive.
that's again looking on the dark side. Like any technology, the collection of our data, whether it's through you giving it to Ashley Madison, because I know Fergal did.
my data's out there.
He sounds very knowledgeable about it. But I'm guessing this was before he was married, so he would have been one of the like.
37 million users were
Was that what the hack
at
was?
the time.
Yeah.
At the time.
There's a
It
really
doesn't-
good there's a really good YouTube channel called Kyra TV, and he does a great 20-minute video on it. It's well worth watching.
But yeah, I mean that actually doesn't make the Cambridge Analytics 80-some million seem so bad, because theirs wasn't nefarious. Theirs wasn't all 63 million cheating people.
Yeah.
But I mean, big data is exactly that. It's just data. It's what we, as humans, as society, decide to do with it, and whether we limit it or, exploit it. That's on us.
Yeah.
Having the data is not a bad thing.
No, it's how it's governed
Yeah.
and how it's used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully with us getting the word out about it, we can.
That's it. We're going to change the
We're
world.
gonna change
I'm
the
sure
world, boys.
Google are listening to us right now, changing.
Yeah.
They're shaking in their boots.
Yeah.
And if Christian turns up strangled tomorrow, we'll know to run.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Whistleblower, the Boeing job. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
Oh
Isn't
boy.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's been great catching up with you guys again. This is
We'll have to do this more often.
Yes.
it's yeah. It's I'm doing a Tim right now because my mind is blown with how much.
Well, you're going off to the UK later this year, aren't you?
Right. Yeah, we're going to UK this summer, and Paris. So
Lovely.
yeah, they'll have all my data. They'll know that I'm a threat to the Prime Minister of England.
He's
'cause-
he's gonna be listed.
yeah,
you're
I'll
gonna
be
be-
blacklisted.
yeah.
I won't know which
You're gonna be on a
passport to
list, yeah.
use. Yeah.
What do you mean I can't come home? Well, that happened to you, didn't it, Virgil?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
he just went pale when I mentioned
yeah,
that.
that was a fun time.
That's a entirely another episode.
Yeah.
International travel, we'll call it.
Yeah, international travel dumbassedness done by Fergal.
Followed up by things Christian has done.
Yeah.
Because my time in Japan was insane.
I bet it was.
But no,
Anyway, but
again,
digress.
been great catching up with you guys. So we'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah,
see
great.
you when
Thanks
your daddy
very
gets
much.
hacked.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Nice. Bye.
Thanks again for letting us into your ear holes with this nerdish, nerdy nerd news podcast. Check out our website at wildshot.ca.
You can find us on all the socials under Nerdish, Nerdy, Nerd News. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe and support us at patreon.com/nerdish to get more bonus content, show notes, and merch.
If you'd like to send us topics for future episodes or comment about our existing ones, please email us info@wildshot.ca. And remember, stay nerdy.
Nerdish, nerdy, nerd news.